Welcome to the show, everybody. It's Monday.
It sure is.
And man, is it cold outside. So perfect night for you to come to Canada Life Center to see the Winnipeg Jets hosting the Edmonton Oilers. The Jets close out this 2-game homestand. And man, I still have a bad feeling in my stomach how that game ended on Saturday night.
Yeah, it was very unfortunate how it ended. Thanks to everyone for joining us as we get you set for tonight's game. Sarah Leski, Jamie Thomas. It is one of those ones where they deserved a better fate than what they got. Happy that they got 1 point, obviously, because points are critical. But let's be honest, they need 2 points, not one. And I think that Scott Arniel spoke after the game Saturday night against Minnesota to talk about how perhaps the, deserved better outcome than what they had.
Obviously, things are not going well. And is that another example where it just kind of, when it rains, it pours in some?
Nope. You know what? That was a hell of an effort by our hockey team. It really was. What is it? Second hottest team in the league since November 1st. That was a hell of a hockey game by us. And I thought that, we did everything we possibly could to win that hockey game. And, obviously come down to a circumstance like that at the end, it is what it is. But at the end of the day, I told the guys after that, real proud of the effort, real proud of the sort of the details, the things that we did, the looks we got, the chances, the opportunities we had, and we deserved a better fate.
The troubling part, or not the troubling part, I can see the frustrating part was, so Minnesota comes in and they're one of the best defensive teams in the NHL, second best in terms of goals against. And Winnipeg had a lead going in the third period. And that's like their bread and butter over the years. When the Jets were leading after 2 periods, like it's over.
Yeah.
That's all it was. That was the end of story. And, some unfortunate circumstances towards the end of the game. Josh Morrissey gets buried from behind by Joel Eriksson-Ek. There's no call. Dylan DeMello gets called for cross-checking. After that, Kyle Connor looked like he had scored into the empty net to make it 4-2 and clear it out, but that was negated by the penalty from Dylan DeMello. Minnesota then, of course, goes on to tie it late and then win in overtime. And it was very similar to the overtime against Ottawa, where Mark Scheifele has his golden opportunity to score, and Ottawa went back the other way. Same thing on Saturday. So we don't need to really go over what happened. It's crazy the way things have gone on this year. And anybody that will talk about the Jets, like what's going on, and it's just not that much. The roster hasn't changed that much. It's just things are not going their way, even when they're playing well. So that game was perfect for 59 minutes, and then just things unraveled from there. So great effort, and I could see why Scott Arniel was proud of the way the group played, because they played a great hockey game on Saturday.
Yeah, so now they're going to look to wrap up this homestand here tonight against the Edmonton Oilers. Yeah. Certainly not an easy task, especially with the way that Connor McDavid and Leon Draisaitl have been playing as of late. We're going to hear from Scott Arniel again in just a short little bit. Dylan Samberg I caught up with, and then Gene Principe is going to join us. Always a fan favorite in this neck of the woods from his years here. Obviously, he's done a very entertaining job over the last couple decades now covering the Edmonton Oilers on the Sportsnet broadcast. So we're looking forward to having Gene here to talk about the Oilers with us. But as I mentioned, they're going against a team tonight. It certainly does not get any easier. The Oilers come in having lost their last game against Calgary. But you look at their numbers. So here we go. This is since December 1st, Connor McDavid in 13 games has 13 goals and 32 points.
Yeah.
Draisaitl has 5 goals and 25 points in those 13 games. So certainly they will have their hands full. This will be the second meeting of the season between these two teams. The first one was a 6-2 Edmonton win. But that was the second game of back-to-backs. That
third
was
game
when,
in 4 nights.
Eric Comrie was played both those games, or started both those games.
They beat Buffalo on Friday, flew into Edmonton that night.
So a different scenario, but this will be another very tough test for the Winnipeg Jets.
Yeah. So, I mean, everyone was looking at Edmonton earlier on in the season, and they got off to another slow start, and this is becoming quite frequently, actually. But they, for whatever reason, I can tell you, 97-29 are the reasons why they turn things around and get back into it. So the way that Edmonton is playing right now, and the funny thing is Leon Draisaitl and Connor McDavid are not playing for spots in their respective countries' Olympic teams. They're already on the roster, so you don't need to do anything else really up to that point, but just doing what they do best. And Edmonton has turned things around and will be a handful. Their power plays, tough as it always is. Scott Arniel will talk about this momentarily about what the key is to kind of slowing down outside of not taking penalties.
Yep.
There was something on that one a little bit later. That was Neil Pionk's first answer today, was like, don't take penalties. But you are eventually going to have to kill the Edmonton Oilers power play, and it's been a handful. So we'll hear from Scott Arniel about that a little bit here momentarily.
But at the end of the day, look, the Jets, they had more players on board in the game against Saturday in terms of generating chances.
Yeah.
Obviously still didn't have the production for it. But at the end of the day, the stars were the stars for the Winnipeg Jets. Tell me if you've heard this before, top line continuing to roll, and they certainly did again. Kyle Connor, Mark Scheifele, Gabriel Velarde have been averaging, and Josh Morrissey have been averaging a goal or higher, or a point or higher for each home game. All of that top line on pace for over 30 goals. It's only happened one other time in franchise history. That was back in 2018-19 when it was Scheifele, Connor, and Patrick Laine did it. So they are continuing to produce. Kyle Connor had spoke about trying to bring everybody along with them,
which I found very ironic that they do the exact what he said they can do more, and it's just exactly the same. They're doing everything that he said they could do and a little bit more.
Let's take a look at Kyle Connor's goal, because I thought that it was another perfect example. We had talked about team coming out of the break, so they got some rest. They need to. This is a group this is a line that picked up exactly where they left off.
Erickson lays it over. Faber back in the middle. Scheifele intercepts. Scheifele up for Velarde. Down the wing trying to get by Quinn Hughes. Velarde holds him off. One hand on the stick. Can't get in front. Scheifele does. To Connor, who scores.
Okay, so leading into that, how about Gabriel Velarde with the one-man show? Quinn Hughes was trying to muscle him off in the boards, and Velarde would not be denied, gets behind the net. You saw what happened, but it's amazing how quickly the puck goes off of Kyle Connor's stick when he's in the right position to shoot the puck. Like the release is unbelievable. And it was a great pass from Mark Scheifele, but the release is even more impressive. And yes, Wallstedt has been unreal lately, but there's no way he was stopping that puck. But that was just, that line was doing that consistently all night long. And I asked Jonathan Toews after the game, I was like, what more can they do? And he literally repeated what I said. I don't know what else they can do.
Yeah.
The thing was, as you touched on a little bit earlier, is lines 2 through 4 looked a lot better.
Yep.
There was some support there from the second, third, fourth lines where they were generating offense. It wasn't all on them. It's just the puck was going in for the top line. It was so close for Gus Nyquist.
Okay. So Jamie and I were sitting beside each other in the press box.
Yeah.
And there's a bunch of our content team that is sitting beside us as well. And so you see Nyquist take it from one end to the other.
If there's a way to score your first goal with a team, this is
that would have absolutely been it. And so it goes in, and we all look at each other and went, oh,
yeah,
fantastic. So happy for him that he gets that monkey
Waterloo's playing from ABBA.
Tremendous. Yeah. And then the challenge. Yeah, the challenge. And you looked at me, and as soon as we knew that Minnesota was challenging, you said, this is going to get called back. Not because he had seen that Niederreiter was offside, but just because of the way that things have gone for Gus Nyquist. It was, as soon as it was challenged, we're going to know this, it'll come back.
Well, yeah,
sure enough.
Yeah, but let's see, because it was just so good.
The Wild keep the heat on, but it's skated up by Nyquist. Nyquist, nifty move. Nyquist to goal, scores.
So even the fans in Canada Life Center recognizing, and when they always play the song, the goal song, and then they show the player up on the big screen, and he had a huge applause. So everything was too perfect at that moment. And then of course, Minnesota, being the aggravating team that they are, challenges as they should, but it gets called back. It's just, and then Gus hits a crossbar in the second period. So there were opportunities. Winnipeg, I believe, hit 2 posts and a crossbar on Saturday night, but the other lines 2, 3, and 4 were doing their jobs, just were not rewarded for their efforts. So Gus is this close, and man, tonight would be a great night for a Gus goal for sure. The Gus bus needs to get going in terms of producing offense. So the lines 2, 3, 4, but they look way better.
Yeah, but as Scott Arniel pointed out at the end, yes, they look better, but they have to start to score.
Yes,
and they're at that point. They're currently 6 points back of that final wild card spot. 1 point is great, team.
Yes,
they have to get 2 though, and in order to do that, you cannot just have it be your top line that's going. They have to find a way to produce. Let's take a look at what the projected lines are going to be for tonight. And perhaps no surprise, given how they played against Minnesota, that we are expecting it to look the same. Now, the one question mark, I think that means would be, in theory, is Josh Morrissey going to be good to go?
He skated this morning.
He did skate this morning. He didn't skate yesterday for the team practice. He woke up, he was a bit sore. He did skate today in the optional one. Scott Arniel saying that basically they're hoping that he's going to play tonight, but not guaranteed.
Right. And Josh Morrissey will go up against either the Draisaitl line and the Connor McDavid line at some point. So it's just a big loss if he's not in the lineup, but him skating this morning was a good sign. So hopefully he feels good before warm up tonight here at 6.
And why is the captain featured on the projected lines board today?
Well, it's his 800th career game.
How about that?
Yeah.
It seems like just yesterday he was drafted, part of that 2011 draft. I was looking up the fact that this is going to be game 800 for Adam Lowry outside of the top 10 of that draft year, which of course was the Scheifele draft, or in the first one for the Winnipeg Jets organization. Only 6 others have hit the 800 game mark. So it's pretty impressive.
I was talking to him yesterday about the jackets and all that goes into it. But every time you ask Adam Lowry something, you get a great answer back.
Yes.
But this is a big milestone for him. I know a lot of guys have hit milestones. Jonathan Tace hit 1,100 games the other night on that last road trip. But 800 is something for a guy that's drafted in the 3rd round in 2011. And asking people around, like I talked to Kevin Cheveldayoff and they said, Mark Chipman, they said when they drafted Adam, they kind of saw leadership potential. Captain.
Right.
One day would be the captain of this hockey team.
Well, I think what's really impressive, and we've heard Adam speak about it after his contract extension that he just had, that the fact that he is able to play his entire career up to this point with one organization means a lot to him too. Outside of those players that were drafted in the top 10 of that year, as I mentioned, so those 6 others that have hit the 800 game mark, well, they've all played for multiple organizations.
Yeah.
And so Adam's the only one that has played out of that stretch that have played for only one club. And in theory, you would think that he'll spend his entire career as a Winnipeg Jet, which he has spoken about how much that means to him as well. And anyways, just a milestone. I don't always like all of I shouldn't say I don't like. I think that sometimes it's made too much of, it's game 200, it's game 300. That's great.
It's because you and I have never played in the NHL either.
It's true. So it's easy to look and go 200 games. Okay.
Who cares?
There's 82 in a season. But to hit 800, I mean, obviously inching closer, if health stays the same, inching much closer to that 1,000 game mark eventually.
Yes. So Gene Principe will be joining us here momentarily. Let's go to, so you're always looking for something. You're trying to find, there's examples all over the place in the NHL history about teams not getting off to good starts, but still finding a way to get in. And
but you will hear us talk a lot about them.
This we'll be digging a lot on this one. So Jack Michaels, who's the voice of the Edmonton Oilers, posed this question to Scott Arniel about you're not a President's Trophy team. Looks like it.
Well, they're not.
And now it's about getting in.
Yep.
And what you can do. So it's like you get in and then you see what happens. So here's Scott Arniel's answer kind of to that.
From this morning.
I think that there's always great examples every year that teams that get in. We faced one last year, a team, St. Louis, that came from nowhere and really took off, and we had to face them in that first round. I think that's happened all the time. You look at Florida a couple of years ago, Barry, I think they get in the last game of the year and then go into the finals. I mean, that's all part of it. Is give yourself a chance. We got to eliminate 8 teams in the West. We got to find a way. Obviously the Central is extremely tough, and that's looking a little bit on the outside right now. Our job is to eliminate 8 teams. So we got to get ourselves in. I know it's a big picture looking down the road. I'm more about tonight, one game at a time. But at the end of the day, we need points, and we need to gain points, and hopefully that momentum builds and we get ourselves on a roll. Like you're seeing a few of these teams that have been kind of got caught in the mushy middle there that are starting to put some runs together. We need to put some runs together here.
So I can think of 2 off the top of my head. Los Angeles, the Kings, when they won the Stanley Cup, they were like out of it. They got into the 8 seed.
That was when they hired Daryl Sutter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So they go all the way. Florida did it, and then St. Louis, of course, 2019. That's the most one that comes to mind all the time. It can be done. But as Arnie was just saying there, got to win some games. You like have to start getting points. And Saturday was a great example of where you have to win that game.
Yep. And so there's, it's something that they like to point to that they can build on. Because look, everybody is well aware that the level of play has not been what they need it to be. It hasn't been there. And so you're not sugarcoating the losses and the struggles that they've had. It hasn't been good enough this season for what the expectations were. This was not supposed to be a team that was outside of the playoff picture. Whether they were going to repeat as President's Trophy winners, we know how challenging that is to do, but the expectation certainly was that at this point in the season that they would be one of the top 8 teams. So you're not sugarcoating that, but there are positives. What's the point of only looking at the negatives with it? The positives are that we saw something against Minnesota.
Yeah.
Now we haven't seen it consistently. And that to me is one of the biggest things, that you see glimpses of it and you go, okay, great. The next game we haven't seen it. Yeah. That's the challenge, not only to get the 2 points, for them to start stringing this together, because if they play the way they did against Minnesota, it is going to turn into wins and they are going to start to get the 2 points. They have to play that way consistently.
Okay, so I wasn't giving you 2 thumbs up because although your points are very valid and
I thought it was just a Dylan Samberg.
You did amazing. You do amazing work. But I was giving 2 thumbs up to Gene Principe to let him know that I did see him on the screen here. So Gene Principe joins us now. Hey, hey, buddy.
Hey, how are you?
It's so weird you not being here because it is an Amazon Prime game, and it's strange not to have you because this is traditionally Sportsnet or CBC. So nice of you to join us from your home. I asked you a little bit earlier if you had any memories of crazy shows on Sportsline around the New Year's Eve, Christmas time. Did you come up with anything?
No, first of all, Jamie, that is that's a long time ago. 92 to 95. One thing I will say that I remember just in general, I always wanted to come home for Christmas. And in fact, when she was my fiance, now wife for 8 years. I remember somewhere in there, not quite one, but more than the other. I remember spending Christmas Eve in Winnipeg and then flying home Christmas morning to Edmonton, home where I grew up. And we kind of looked at each other and said, I'm not sure we want to do that again, to kind of split the holiday. It's one thing to split it in the same city, but it's another thing to fly from one place to the other. But Joe was always great. He would always give me my time off at Christmas, which I wanted more than New Year's Eve. And then New Year's Eve, I would work. I do remember one story. I was just telling Karen this. It was kind of off the air, but we worked till 11 or 11:30, and then I went to Grapes on Main. Oh, right? Yeah, Grapes on Main.
Oh, yes. If you're thinking of a certain vintage.
Yes, and I was still kind of getting, I'd been there 6 months. I started in June, so now you're at December 31st. So July, August, September, October. Yeah, about 6 months. And some guy, I don't remember his name, but he was kind of like a guy who played some hockey, but not NHL level, minor pro over in Europe. I can't remember his name, but we were at the bar and he was ordering a lot of drinks, and you're just sort of mixing and mingling through New Year's, and then at the end of the night, he the waitress who had been serving us or that area for a bit came over to sort of close the tab, and he paid it, and I didn't know, but I don't think he gave her a tip, and she said, don't I get a tip? And he paused and said, yeah, don't eat yellow snow. And it was the first time I'd heard that in my life. And so I remember it from that New Year's, which was my first one. That would have been 92 to 93. So that's the only story that I remember that dealt with Sportsline that was connected. And I never saw the guy again, but I remember that line now. That's 33 years later, because I'd never heard it. And I was 25 years old. So maybe I was missing out, but I haven't forgotten it since.
So you waitress for a while. So if you would have heard that after not getting a tip on New Year's Eve, that wouldn't fly at all.
It would not. No. It would have been a swift kick to the back of the knee.
Good one, Sarah.
would have accidentally fallen into them.
Okay, so it seems like we got the same game plan going here for the Edmonton Oilers. Let's just start off slow. Everybody will worry about what's going on. Oh, poor Edmonton. Everybody like good outside of the Edmonton area, of course. Now they're turning it around. This seems like a same song and dance every year. So how do you view it now, Gene, that they've kind of turned a corner again?
Yeah, well, if I can kind of parlay off your earlier points, because I was listening into the great conversation you were having with Sara, and two things I wanted to point out. I listened to Scott Arniel on the question from Jack Michaels, who often does the broadcasts on Sportsnet Hockey Night in Canada, and it brought me right back to 2006. The Edmonton Oilers defeated the Anaheim Ducks in the second last game of the season. And I remember that night we had to watch, Vancouver was playing San Jose, and the Oilers needed some help from San Jose. And they got in the second last game of the season. I heard you talking about LA as another example, an 8 seed. And so Edmonton was a number 8 seed and went to Game 7 of the Stanley Cup Final. So I would say to Jets fans, I understand when you have a President's Trophy winning season that you expect something along those lines again, if not top spot. But it is a tough division that they're in, very tough division. And the West has been, a challenge. Vegas is still Vegas. Anaheim has surprised some people. Edmonton is now coming on and playing a lot like people would have expected. So, you haven't played a half of the season yet, but yes, a run. I remember when Edmonton struggled a few years ago, they won 16 in a row, which is, that's really at the top end of the scale. But look at Buffalo. I think Buffalo's won 7 or 8 in a row.
Yeah.
They went from being basically in the basement of the Eastern Conference to being in the running for a wild card. So hold out hope. And I'm not suggesting the Jets fans have given up, but sometimes it feels like that because your team isn't succeeding. And the other point I wanted to make, you talked about Adam Lowry. I mean, this guy is a prototypical leader. Comes from great hockey stock with his father, Dave. Wears a C because of the fact that he can say and capture the room, which often isn't the case if you're not, quote unquote, a superstar or star player. And when I say that, I'm talking about points and literally just production. But he is a star to the Winnipeg Jets, so much so that when the season began, Chris Knobloch was envisioning having a third line like Winnipeg has, with Adam Lowry like player being the center of that line. They have not found that yet. Trent Frederick, I think, was the player that the Oilers had in mind who would sort of fit the physical bill, wouldn't necessarily be the leader that Adam Lowry is, but I don't think they need that specific of a leader like Adam Lowry. So lots of great stuff going on in Winnipeg, but results-driven business. At some point, you have to win so that your team feels good and everybody in Jets country feels good too.
We were talking about, Gene, about the production, obviously, since December 1st of McDavid and Draisaitl. Or where did the switch happen?
Yeah.
And not to say that not to say that they weren't playing well earlier, but certainly not to the extent of what we've seen right now.
Sarah, great question. And I think that they had a long road trip in November, a 7-game trip. And I think sometimes, and you both have been on long road trips, and, I get that we're, a little bit tired, or it's, from city to city, hotel to hotel, rink to rink, bus to bus. But I think that one took a lot out of Edmonton. They finished at 3-3-1. They won, the last game against Florida. I think they would have preferred one more win in 2024 Cup Final than to win that. But it still feels good to be victorious against a team that's beaten you in back-to-back Cup Finals. But it didn't sort of happen right away. Then they came home and they lost big, and it was kind of like, okay, where are we going with this? But then Connor and Leon, especially Connor, and I've literally watched virtually every game of his career and watched games in bunches. And I'm not sure I've seen so many highlight reel goals and so many great passes and so many superlative point nights from him over the course of basically a calendar month with tonight, and then the Oilers play the 31st at home against Boston. It's been, incredible. And I can see it in him that he is feeling better, has more energy. And I think that goes hand in hand. I'm not sure you ever feel energetic if you're having what might be considered average days at work, but you start having some above average, some great days, some super days, and that just continues to carry you. So I think it's a bit of a cycle, but he is feeling great. His numbers are great. He's back at the top of the list for points in the NHL. And early in the season, Sara and Jamie, people were wondering about goals. And last I checked, I think he's at 23 or 24. And a turning point for him in that was a 1-0 loss to Minnesota. And I think he felt like he gave up some really good scoring chances to make what could have been wonderful assists. But I think he kind of went, you know what, I need to shoot more. And he has ever since. And he's putting up the goals, he's putting up the assists, he's putting up the points. And the team is doing that as well.
Gene, a big trade made, obviously, recently with the Stuart Skinner gets sent to Pittsburgh. Tristan Jarry comes back. Now, Tristan Jarry is hurt. Before he really gets to acclimate himself to being an Oiler. Was that kind of like, oh, my gosh, we make this trade to kind of get the goaltender to get us over the hump here, and then he gets hurt?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, you make this trade. It was a Friday morning, and you two have been on team charters, and it's a Friday morning, and I'm a late packer, and the flight's at 10, and the phone's dinging, and you're getting phone calls, and you're trying to get in on the Zoom call with Stan Bowman, but do I have enough man-made underwear? Sorry for the plug. And you're like, can I get this all together? Well, I made it on time, and the plane was kind of. There was sort of a hush. Normally, there's a certain exuberance and excitement, but it was quieter than normal, I would say. And then to think that on the trip, 3 games in after Toronto, Montreal, which are built in wonderful buildings and atmospheres and environments, very different but still wonderful. Then you play Pittsburgh. So it was really strange. And it was, oftentimes, as both of you have seen before, you've got the 2 rooms and someone gets traded, and the ex-teammate and the teammates kind of meet somewhere in between. But for Brett Kulak and Stuart Skinner, they came, literally they were steps away from the Oilers dressing room. That's how fresh the trade was. It was very weird. And then to top it off, Leon Draisaitl gets 0.1000. Who knows how many points that Stuart Skinner was in net while he was on the same team as Leon. And then he ends up being the goalie of record for Leon to get 0.1000. And then, Tristan Jarry gets hurt against Boston, and not quite a Winnipeg kid, but born in Moncton, but raised in Winnipeg and lives in the Winnipeg area in the offseason. Calvin Pickard came in. So it's been difficult. Tristan, I would say, hard to say exactly, but going by the original timeline, he should be back skating sometime soon, if not to end this year, to start next year. But it gave Connor Ingram, who came over in a trade from Utah, who has gone through the NHL Player Association and the NHL Player Assistance Program, not substance abuse program. I want to make that clear, because sometimes people get that, they kind of incorrectly say that player assistance due to, some mental health challenges, the passing of his mom, and he's got himself right mentally, from what he's told everybody, and he's got himself right physically and playing 3 straight games. But it is Calvin Pickard tonight, so we wait to see. I mean, I think the Oilers these are your 3 goalies now. Which 2 it will be is yet to be determined, and unless Tristan is injured more seriously than we thought, by about the middle of January he should be back, and then we'll see who the backup is. Plus, the backup could change. It doesn't necessarily have to be one guy the rest of the year, but Calvin Pickard is immensely popular. He's come in the most difficult situations in the playoffs and given the Oilers a chance to succeed in 2 runs to the Cup final. So his I guess what he's done for the team has not been forgotten and won't be. And along with the fact he's just one of those, I mean, I don't know if we've met many backup goalies that are really popular and well-liked, and he's another one of them.
Hold on. Do you recognize this name at all, Gene? See the bottom?
Yeah, I do. Zia Felice, yes. Hey, Pasquale, Buon Natale. Of course I recognize him. 3rd cousins.
Hey, man, listen, thanks for coming on. I know I'll see you before Italy tries to get into the World Cup of Soccer coming up here in March. Yeah. So we wish you all the best, buddy, and looking forward to see you here in January. So Merry Christmas and Happy New Year to you, you and your family.
Yeah, you too, Jamie, and to you too, Sarah. You do great work. Keep it up, and I look forward to a wonderful game tonight.
Us too. Thanks so much, Gene. Appreciate it.
See you, buddy. Gene Principe. I knew he would know that guy. I just knew it. So I was like, that's awesome. And it's like an automatic response too. So yeah.
So good.
He could be the mayor of Winnipeg as well as top as the mayor of Edmonton as well.
He could be the mayor. Everyone loves Gene.
Yeah.
So
best, because he was in the dressing room after the Jets lost 6-2 in Edmonton. And I had asked a couple of questions, and then Gene asked us like very nicely.
That's right, because you went to that.
Yeah, I went to that game.
You went
and
to
of course
that
the game I go to on the road.
Jamie doesn't go to games anymore on the road. And so I like how you had to clarify that. On the road.
On the road. I'm
here at home.
Here, yes.
But on the road. And so it was.
I do one off.
And it did not go well. We were texting you throughout the game. I'm like, so have fun with this one.
And then in the content meeting on Monday. So I'll tell you a quick story. Gene goes in. Gene always knows how to ask questions that are tough, but he words them in such a way you can't even be mad at him. And I watched him put this marvelous question to Josh Morrissey, who was grumpy, of course, because they lost 6-2. And Josh gives him this like 2-hour-long answer. I'm like, what the heck? I'm like, I'm the guy. I'm the team guy. You give me a short answer, then Gene asks this nice question, and you go on. And it was poetry watching it happen. So Gene is very good at that stuff. So I got bugged so badly about that game in the content meeting. Like I actually snapped on everybody.
We've never let him go back on the road since.
That's right. And I have not been on the road since. So anyways, enough about me.
Yes. Quickly before we wrap up, I did have the opportunity to catch up with Dylan Samberg earlier today. So here is the bench interview, one-on-one with number 50. Well, Dylan, you come into this game obviously looking for a different result than what we saw against Minnesota, but there was so much that you guys talked about what you liked out of that game. When you look at the difference in that game versus some of the previous ones, what was it that stood out to you about your play?
Well, I think, we've been struggling a little bit with our starts, and I feel like that was a good start for us, and obviously, we got off to a lead there and fell a little bit in the second period, but we battled back, and I feel like we played a really good 60 minutes, and I feel like that was, we haven't done that in a while, and I feel like that's a good stepping stone for us.
Did you feel as if overall the urgency was there? We kind of talked about this point in the season and just where you guys are in the standings needing to elevate.
Yeah, I think so. I think the break definitely helped. Got guys away from the game for a little bit, and got to relax, see their friends and families, and come back ready to go. Everyone was excited to get back, and we know what's at stake here, and we know we need to start getting points and getting wins. But just looking to get off on the right foot here tonight.
I think we sometimes underestimate the importance of a break like that. Was it more mental or physical when you think about it from your perspective?
Well, I think it's a little bit of both. You get that mental break away from the rink and away from hockey, and you get to see your family and relax then, and obviously the physical breaks side of things too as well. You get away from the game, and you allow your body to recover from any minor ailments that you may have, and when you come back, you're looking to get ready to go.
What does urgency look like to you?
To me, I think just competitive and winning battles, and that's really what we need to do, and just sticking to our systems. Like last year, it worked for us, and not much has changed, and we just got to make sure we trust the system, trust our coaching staff, all of our teammates, and everything will fall into place.
Going against an Oilers team that, especially when you look at the job that Connor McDavid and Leon Draisaitl have been doing recently in the points. As a defenseman, do you enjoy that challenge of going up against players like that?
Absolutely, yeah. It's always fun to play against the best players in the league, and that's what you want to do day in and day out. And it's a challenge, but it's a good challenge, and we're looking forward to it. And we have guys that can do the same thing.
What's the key to trying to contain them?
We'll just eliminate their time and space, and obviously they have a lot of speed and everything, so it's not an easy task to do. But I'd say that's the biggest part, and just making sure that we stay on them all night and take away their time and space.
Appreciate the time.
Thanks, Sarah.
Neil Pionk was kind of asked the same question, like, how do you slow down Connor McDavid? He's like, he just said, hope Ellie stops him.
He's got such great answers.
Yeah, I know. And he always goes, no, and then he goes on to something seriously, but it is a handful. And you just heard Gene talk about the role that he's on right now. Outside of when he comes here, anybody that has a chance to watch Connor McDavid, it's like something you have to do live.
Yeah.
You don't want him to have success here tonight. But you got a cool stat.
Well, you said
Here's some good news.
So what was Neil's thing? What do you hope? You hope that
Kelly stops him.
Well, he has. Connor Hellebuyck has not given up a goal to McDavid in their last 8 games. The last time that Connor McDavid scored against Connor Hellebuyck, February 19th, 2022. Mark Scheifele, meanwhile, has had a lot of success against the Oilers. He has points in his last 9 games versus Edmonton, which is the longest active point streak in the NHL against the Oilers. So hopefully that continues, especially here at home. You know that Scheifele loves to score here at home. That he'll be able to contribute, and hopefully Connor Hellebuyck is able to extend it to 9 games against Connor McDavid.
See, me and Gene give some nice talk about the Jets. You have a nice interview with Dylan Samberg, and then 2 fun facts, positive Jet stuff.
Yes.
I got a feeling.
There you go. One thing that they do need to do, though, and we didn't have an opportunity to get to Scott Arniel's clip about it, but the penalty kill, it is going to be key for the Jets to stay out of the box tonight.
Yes.
Discipline play. You have to see that power play since December 1st. 40% is what they're operating at. So you do not want to give them any additional opportunities with the way that Edmonton has been going. I mean, 5-on-5, but especially 5-on-4.
So Amazon Prime is the place you're going to go to watch the game tonight?
Because it's a Monday.
Yeah, and 680 CJOB, Power 97, where you can listen to it. You do want to pay attention to warm up today, because we'll see if Josh Morrissey can go tonight. A little banged up after that hit on Saturday night from Joel Eriksson neck.
Yeah, Connor Hellebuyck, Calvin Pickard are your 2 starting goaltenders. So looking forward to this one. This is the second meeting of the season between these 2 teams. Edmonton is back here early on, January, is it 9th?
Yeah.
Okay, January 9th. So looking forward to that. And yes, great reminder that this game is on Amazon, because if you are like me, and we see lots of memes on this on Instagram, between Christmas and New Year's, what day of the week is it? Who really knows?
Yeah.
Often.
Amazon
so great
Prime
reminder,
Monday.
This being a Monday night, make sure that you catch tonight's game on Amazon Prime.
Thanks for watching, everybody.
Thanks so much for checking in. We will see you later this week when the Jets head out on the road for 3 games, playing New Year's Eve in Detroit. We will see you then. Have a great rest of your day, everyone.